Hello, friends. This is Marcella Silva here with another amazing opportunity. Property located in the middle of the alternative energy capital of the world, surrounded by billionaires and billion-dollar and multi-million dollar projects. This is a phenomenal location that I have available today, so I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. Also, just so you know, this property is available only through this weekend, January 9th, with paperwork signed and due in by January 10th at 8 a.m. Pacific. So this is available first come, first serve. If you're interested, please let me know as soon as possible. This particular property is part of the largest shift of wealth that we are seeing happening globally right now, and it all has to do with energy, the fundamental resource that is used across the globe. If you think about it, we use energy at every second of our day, and without energy, it would be a completely different world. But the main resource that is needed to create this energy is land. And not just any land, you have to have the right land in the right areas. And this particular property is in the number one location, if not nationally, internationally. So the wealth shift I was mentioning is our shift away from fossil fuels and towards alternative energy. It's happening not just here in California, but across the globe. And like I mentioned, the land needed for it is tremendous. It is mind-blowing how much land is going to be needed to get us to 100% net zero, meaning we are not creating any more pollution. This is all about saving our environment. And for the corporations, it's all about making money. There's a lot of money to be made in this sector. And for us as land bankers, we own the fundamental asset, energy real estate. Very unique opportunity that's available, and we have less than a decade to be able to invest in this opportunity. So California happens to be leading the way when it comes to clean energy. They have been setting the standard for not only the country, but the world. And the number one location in California for this happens to be the Antelope Valley, right where we're investing in land, right where this particular property is located. You can see here where the star is in that dark red. The darker the red, the more intense the sun. That is exactly what you need, that right type of environment to be able to create energy if you're going to be harvesting the sun from massive utility scale solar projects. So this map comes from the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. So it is the perfect environment for this energy creation. And because of that and all of the billions, tens of billions of dollars, over $70 billion that has been invested already in this area for projects, this area is now known as the alternative energy capital of the world. It is also known as the target electric utility region by the local government bodies because of this energy real estate opportunity, because of the right environment, and because of the infrastructure. Infrastructure is always a critical piece of investing in any land correctly, not just energy real estate, but all land. We want to make sure that the right infrastructure is either being put in place or has already been put in place. In this particular case, over $3.5 billion has already been spent just on high tension power lines by Southern California Edison, which is the power company in Southern California. Back in 2012 timeframe, they built out the Tehachapi Renewable Transmission Project, which enables Southern California Edison to safely deliver power produced by wind and sun. So here's a map showing these green and blue lines here. This is the Antelope Valley right here. The Antelope Valley is made up of both Kern County and LA County. This star represents the general location of where the property is located. So we are very close to these existing high tension power lines that have been put in by the energy company. Also, Los Angeles Department of Water and Power has spent $600,000 putting in their own high tension power lines across the Antelope Valley, specifically to deliver alternative energy to the city of Los Angeles. So it's local, smaller government bodies like individual cities, it's state bodies, it's national bodies, and international governments that are all moving forward on this alternative energy transition. Here's an actual picture of one of the solar fields. This is just one of them. This particular project, I think, is about 3 square miles large. And you can see a huge wind farm behind it. As a matter of fact, the property that's available, I think, is like roughly right over here where my mouse is in this particular picture. Now, the Antelope Valley, it is a valley. It is surrounded by mountain ranges. So to the south is the Los Angeles National Forest, and then here we have the Tehachapi Mountain Range. They are not able to develop out the mountains, obviously, because it's very difficult, number one, but it's also controlled by government, so it cannot be developed, or it's privately owned. In the Tehachapi Mountain case, there's a large ranch, Tejon Ranch, but 90% of it cannot be developed. So there you have it. There's limited space where these projects can go, and this area is experiencing the largest land rush in California's history. And it's all been happening for a little over a decade now, basically starting since 2010, 2011 timeframe. And this is all moving us towards the electrification of everything due to state mandates. By the year 2045, all of California's energy must come from alternative energy resources. No more gas, no more coal, no more nuclear, you name it, all alternative energy. So as a reminder, at Boulevard, we strictly research all of our properties. Land is very risky if you don't know what you're doing. That's why investors have been coming to us for over 40 years. We've been in business since 1979, and we have it down to a science on how to do the proper research and screening of these properties. Number one, we want to make sure we're in the right areas, and number two, we want to make sure that we're buying the right type of land. So out of 30 properties that Velour will consider for investment, at any one time, they purchase about one and reject 29 other ones. So it's very difficult for us to find quality developable land, and that's why we're really running out of land quickly and have a tight pipeline for available properties, especially with this alternative energy thing, because these projects are massive and they're taking up a lot of land. So get in while you can on this opportunity. This property is 10 acres, 9.55 net acres. We'll show you the net acreage. The reason for that, it's because it's frontage Rosamond Boulevard. So the location is Rosamond Boulevard and 147th Street West. This property is located in Kern County. Kern County is touting themselves as being the #1 county in the entire United States for alternative energy projects. So they're pushing these projects forward at a very rapid pace. This zoning, it's basically unzoned land, agricultural zone land, but the government bodies consider this area as the target electric utility region. They do not want these projects to start going on land that is zoned for housing or commercial or industrial type purposes. They still need that type of land for traditional community development and growth, because this is also some of the last remaining developable land in all of Southern California. Of course, we do invest in those other types of land, but this particular property is more geared towards the solar opportunity. Purchase price $79,000, only $7,900 per acre. To be quite honest, I'm surprised we're still able to offer properties at this price point. 18 cents per square foot for a total of 435,600 square feet. So huge property, Just to give you an idea, that's like the size of 2 city blocks. 10 acres of land, massive location. This is what's called the plat map, which shows the details of the property that I kind of just went over. 10 acres, 9.55 net. Actually, let's look at that right now. So here's the actual property, 9.55 acres. It's a total of 10 acres, but the reason for the net acreage is because it's frontage Rosamond Boulevard, which it's always great to be frontage a road. But when it comes to these solar projects, I mean, we've had investors who make money just from their easements here. And we always negotiate for the gross square footage, not the net square footage. And on top of it, this Rosamond Boulevard is already paved with electricity. To put that kind of utilities in on a property would cost probably more than $79,000. So this property has lots of opportunity for it, built-in equity as well, as you will see. There's also existing solar projects there, brand new solar projects recently proposed in 2021 coming in nearby, and a ton of other projects which we'll go over. So, like I said, Rosamond Boulevard, where frontage, that's this black square is the actual property, and 147th Street West, which is an approximate location. The more important, the title company actually finds the property is not with an address like you would say, a house is 123 Main Street. It's completely different. When it comes to land, you use the legal description. This pinpoints exactly where the location is, and that legal description, the complete legal description, will be provided in escrow. And like I said, it is used by the title company to insure the property for you. All of that is done in escrow for you and paid for by the lure. So this property is located in Kern County, like I mentioned. It's in Range 14 West and Township 9 North. So the entire United States is broken up into ranges and townships. If we were looking at a really big map, we'd be able to find that. Within Range 14 West and Township 9 North, you would find Section 17. Section 17 is this square, which is 1 square mile. From there, we go to the southwest quarter of that section. So this is a 160 acres at the southwest quarter. You can see my mouse there. I'm circling it. Then we go to the southeast quarter of that, which takes us to this 40 acres. And then we go to the west half of that, which takes us to this 20 acres. And then the west half of that, which takes us to the exact property, this 10-acre parcel. So, like I mentioned, that legal description might vary slightly, just like 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4. So does 2 plus 2 equal 4. So does 3 plus 1 equal 4. It works the same way with the legal descriptions. So it may change slightly. In either case, it is the exact location that we see here. $79,000 is the purchase price. Like I said, I can't believe that we're still able to offer properties in this price range, especially in this location. It is literally in the center of the action here, and then with existing infrastructure there, phenomenal location. So this is the assessor's map, like we already showed you there. Let's look at what's happening in the 3-mile radius of the property. Just as a reminder, refresher here, the Urban Land Institute has done studies, and they found when a new development comes into an area, it causes the surrounding values of land within a 3-mile radius to increase in value. So all new developments coming in within a 3-mile radius of the property is about a 10% appreciation. And again, this is coming from the Urban Land Institute. Within a 2-mile radius is a 20% appreciation, and within a 1-mile radius is a 30% appreciation. Some of these projects could be 2, 3, 5, 10 square miles large themselves. So these numbers are very conservative, again, coming from the Urban Land Institute. There's already a ton of existing projects. There are more projects in this location than there is available land left to be developed. Here's the 3-mile radius from my Google Earth. If you go on Google Earth and try looking up this property, you're not going to see a lot of the solar projects that are already in the ground there. Like right here, as we saw on the plat map here, let me go back to the plat map. Rosamond Solar, it's already in the ground, but if you go on Google Earth, you do not see it because Google Earth is roughly 1 to 5 years behind on their imagery. So it's just not going to give you an accurate display, and it's definitely not going to show you future projects that are coming into the area. So all of the yellow that we see here are either existing or new projects that are planned to come in. The purple lines that we see running across the screen there, those are the high tension power lines put in by Southern California Edison. And then over here, Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. There's all sorts of power lines out here. And then there's a lot of underground gen-tie lines that have also been put in place by these solar companies. So like I mentioned, billions of dollars in infrastructure and project has already been spent out here. And the reason why, it's the #1 location for these projects. Here is a different map showing coming from Kern County Planning Department, and actually this is a few years old. It is not reflecting all of the newer projects, like there's a brand new project coming in right down to the south of this one. But you can see just all of the projects that have puzzle pieced together over time, starting back since 2010, 2011 timeframe. Some of the new projects coming in, Chaparral, Rabbit Bush, and Tumbleweed. And actually, I think they already broke ground on these projects. So here's Rosamond Boulevard, that red star. Anytime you see a red star, that's going to be where the location of the property is. These are the new projects that are coming in there. Also, we have Rosamond Solar Project. Actually, just to give you an idea, that's 2,117 acres of land. So divided by 640, that's 3.3 square miles of land between these 3 different projects. 3.3 square miles. And those are small projects compared to some of the other ones that are coming in. Rosamond Central, this is actually helping to power Northern California. So East Bay, San Francisco, Palo Alto, the entire state is committing to going green, but the entire state cannot put their own utility projects in. So they're buying the energy from the projects that are located down here in the alternative energy capital of the world. This was a $5 million project coming in. Here's another one, Rosamond Central Solar. That's just to the south of the property. That broke ground in December of 2019, done by December 2020. And here's an actual video of these Rosamond Central. The property that's available today is probably in this video. I wouldn't quite be able to tell you where exactly, but it's somewhere in here. This will give you an idea of just how large these projects are. They are literally a sea of solar panels, and you can see off into the distance more projects there. This is these projects just puzzle piecing together as they get developed out. So off into the sunset, you can just see all those solar panels there that are already on the ground. That was Rosamond Central, which is right next to where the property is. So there's the property, Rosamond Central. So there's 130th, here's 140th, roughly 147th, there's Rosamond Boulevard. Also, the most famous investor, Mr. Warren Buffett, is neighbors with this property as well. So there's the red star denoting where the property is located. And then this is the original schematics of the solar project. It actually grew since they originally started it. That was back in 2011 timeframe. Warren Buffett spent $2.5 billion buying the land. Originally, he bought 4,000 acres, 6.25 square miles, and now it has grown up to 8.9 square miles of land. And here are some pictures that I personally took on the ground there when it was under construction. So in 2020, Warren Buffett said that they, in their annual shareholders meeting, had another $70 billion prepared to invest in alternative energy. Warren Buffett looks into the future when he makes investments. What is always going to be needed? Energy. That is why he's capitalizing on it. That is why he was one of the first movers out here with the largest solar project for the longest time here in California. And land is definitely a way to make money while you sleep. So here's another view. This is a portion of Warren Buffett's project. The pink with the black stripes. Kingbird Solar, that puzzle piece in right next to it. This is just one small piece of many different projects at a company called First Solar by Christy Walton from the Walmart Waltons. So there's another billionaire neighbor. And then Recurrent Energy, who partnered with Google. They have 3 different projects that keep going off the screen here. We don't see it, that puzzle piece together over here as well. Our investors sold their land for an average at that time, and we're talking about 2015, 16, 17 time frame, from about $16,000 per acre they sold their properties for. So just in that pricing years ago, you have built-in equity on this property. And then so these projects are to the southwest, and this one is the southeast of where the property is located. This one is 1,402 acres. So let's see, I think that's a little over 2 square miles. Yeah, 2.1 square miles. This one's done by First Solar. And if you go on Google, you do not see the solar panels on the ground, but I do know they are already on the ground. I've seen them personally. So Apple actually did a deal directly with First Solar. Apple has committed to go to 100% green, meaning all of their energy is coming from alternative energy by the year 2030. Several years ago, they did a deal with First Solar saying, hey, we're going to power our new Silicon Valley campus and stores from First Solar. They did an $850 million deal with First Solar. Here's an offer that came to one of our investors from First Solar when they were developing out their projects, $23,000 per acre, and that was an initial offer. As land bankers, we never take the initial offer, but even on this initial offer, there's a lot of equity to, a lot of growth to happen with this particular property. So this is the First Solar project. This is Warren Buffett's projects down here, Rosamond Solar projects. The one right next to the property is done by Duke Energy. Duke Energy, they got their start back in the early 1900s with fossil fuels, gas and oil. And now they're transitioning away from that to alternative energy. They have this 1,188 acre project, which is right next to where the property is located. Here is the actual project site with this dark kind of shaded area. And they put in a gen tie line there. So it costs these solar companies between $500,000 to $1 million per mile for these gen tie lines. Gen ties are underground electric lines that tie directly into the substation. You can see there's Tehachapi Renewable Transmission Project. They tie right in and sell the energy to Southern California Edison. And then here's the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power line on this side. So lots of customers surrounding this. And then here's another Rosamond South solar project, currently proposed, has not started development. That was proposed in June 3rd of 2021. And that is, I would say, less than half a mile from the property. It's made up of multiple different project sites. All these orange outlines are the actual project. And you can see Gentai lines. Here's that Gentai line running right along Rosamond Boulevard. So this is a highly desirable location as far as infrastructure goes because you're close to the transmission line over here. Then you got the substation for the transmission line, excuse me. And then we have the underground transmission lines that are already there. So they literally just plug right in instead of having to spend that millions of dollars putting in their own Gentai lines. To the north is a project called Valentine Solar, 1,260 acres. Let me see, 1,260 acres. Let's look at the size of that. 1.9 square miles. And on that 1.9 square miles, they can remove 225,000 metric tons of CO2 emissions annually from the air. That's like getting rid of 48,000 passenger vehicles off the road. So, they're making big steps as far as helping to clean the environment, which is absolutely critical. So here's Valentine Solar to the north, and that's puzzle piecing in next to these other projects, Catalina Solar and Tropico Solar. Tropico Solar is actually now called Big Bow Solar. Big Bow Solar, it's currently under construction. I don't know if it's completed yet. 2,290 acres. I love this one. I personally have a 10-acre parcel right next to Big Bow Solar, 3.5 square miles of land. Which I've been receiving land lease offers on that property. In any case, here's Big Bow Solar. The property is 110, 20, 30, 40. So the property's like right here where it says Rosa. And then here's the Big Bow Solar. We had our investors were selling for about $16,000 per acre in this location. Here's another, just down the street, here's Rosamond Boulevard. So on Rosamond and 158th Street West, about 1 mile away, and this property isn't even frontage on Rosamond Boulevard. That's listed on the market for $600,000 for 20 acres. That works out to $29,762 per acre. And again, buying this property from Velour, you're able to get it at $7,900 per acre. As there's less and less available land, as more of these projects come in, that's again increasing the value of the land. Then of course we have Pacific Wind to the kind of west and northwest of the property. Huge project, 8,300 acres. So that's 12.9 square miles, massive project. This is the map showing where it is. Then we have another wind, it's a wind and solar combination coming in right next to it. This is a map one of our investors received last year, Keyhole Wind. That was March 2021 when this map was made. And they're expecting this to be about 15,000 acres of land. These are massive projects. And they also said they are planning for billions of dollars of infrastructure to be put into the area. And we have an investor, my investor, she has 10 acres of land. This was the offer that she received last year in June of 2021. They're looking at leasing her land for over 30 years. And in that 30-year time frame, she could make up to $899,330. And this was the initial offer. So that's still currently under negotiation. We'll see where that goes. She bought the property, 10 acres, for only $30,000 a few years ago. So there you go. Oh yeah, approximate acreage 9.8. So here again is the property. You can see Valentine, Big Bow, all of these projects I mentioned here in that 3-mile radius. That's about 37 square miles of land. And I don't even think I'm including the wind projects. Behind this little graph are the huge wind project of almost 13 square miles plus another 15,000 acre project is coming in. Gosh, how many? Let's see how many miles is 15,000 acres, just for fun. That's 23 square miles of land for one project. It's crazy. This is Lorelei Aviat, who is the director for Kern County Planning and Natural Resources. I mean, she's the bigwig behind all of these projects that are coming in. She says as of 2019, just in Kern County alone, over $58.5 billion had been invested in Kern County on these projects. The property that's available is actually just a little bit south of this picture, and you can see the wind farm there that we were just talking about. So huge mandates are already on the board from Senate Bill 100, which says by the year 2045, all homes and buildings must be powered by alternative energy. By the year 2020, they were supposed to be at 33%. That was a 20% increase when the original law came out, because there was a lot of older wind projects that had already been in existence, providing about 13% renewable energy to California in 2011. So from 2011 to 2020, just a 20% increase. We saw the largest land rush in California's history. This is when $60 billion of investment had gone into the Antelope Valley. We need to increase it by another 27% by the year 2030. And then by the year 2045, we have to be at 100%. I'm going to show you a map here shortly. There is nowhere near enough land to be able to make that happen. And then you add on to the fact that we need a ton of battery energy storage to be able to power us at night. And then added on top of that, by the year 2035, according to N7920 here in California, a government mandate that by the year 2035, all new cars being sold in California have to be electric vehicles. People are already moving to electric vehicles. All of those vehicles have to be powered by alternative energy. That is huge. This was a study done March 16th of 2021 by the California Energy Commission, California Public Utilities Commission, and California Air Resources Board. They said for Senate Bill 100, which is to power homes and buildings by the year 2045, 100%, that for the next 25 years, on average, the state will need to build up to 6 gigawatts of new renewable and storage resources annually. By comparison, over the last decade, we've only been building about 1.3 gigawatts of energy. Just to give you an idea of how much energy that is, 1 gigawatt of energy is equivalent to about one nuclear power plant. And like I said, we've seen about $60 billion, and that's a conservative number, be invested in just the Antelope Valley alone over the past decade, and that was only to create 1.3 gigawatts per year for the past decade. We need now 6 gigawatts per year for the next 25 years. So I did the calculations. Conservative number, it takes about 10 acres to create 1 megawatt of energy. We need 150 gigawatts of energy in the next 25 years. That's 2,343 square miles of land. Imagine 1 mile wide piece of land from the East Coast to the West Coast. That's how much land we're needed just to power California. It is absolutely mind-blowing. Here is a zoomed out picture of the Antelope Valley. You can see Andros National Forest, like I mentioned. Tehachapi Forest up to the north cannot be developed. This is the primary area, the western side of the Antelope Valley, where these projects can come. And keep in mind, this particular map is a few years old. It is not reflecting all of the new solar projects that have been recently approved to come into the area or recently built. The star is, again, where the property is located. All the dark red are solar projects. All the pink are wind projects. These projects have come in the past decade. And that was at a rate of 1.3 gigawatts per year. We need now 6 gigawatts per year for the next 25 years to reach the goal of 100% alternative energy for homes and buildings. That doesn't even begin to tap into what's going to be needed for transportation. So needless to say, and New York Times says it too, the wind and solar boom is here. It has been. Velour has been watching this since the beginning. Luckily for us as investors, Velour is on top of these things and we're able to invest in this land. And solar is now the cheapest electricity in history. That's why I mentioned it's largely driven by money. So by the year 2045, all heavy diesel trucks and vans will be banned. They will no longer be allowed on the roads. There's about 1.7 million of those trucks on the roads every single day, or every single year, in California. Just the one Tesla semi-truck has a range of 500 miles, but requires the same amount of energy as 700 homes per hour. Let that sink in. Think about how much energy is going to be required just to move all of our goods around. So last September, one of the directors from Southern California Edison was on a panel that I watched. She said that they're expecting between 7 to 8 million cars, electric vehicles on the road in Southern California by the year 2030. And each electric vehicle takes anywhere between 50 to 100 kilowatts to run per car. So at 7 million cars, 75 kilowatts per car, that's 525 million kilowatts of energy needed. We convert that to megawatts, that's 525,000 megawatts. We convert that to how much land is needed, so it's roughly 10 acres to create 1 megawatt of energy, and again, that's a conservative number. That's 5,250,000 acres of land. That's 8,203 square miles of land just to power the electric vehicles expected by the year 2030 in Southern California. I can pretty much guarantee that land doesn't exist in the Antelope Valley. But we are in the main location. This is the low-hanging fruit that they're taking up right now. And all the car companies are going electric. Probably before these mandates hit, all of the car companies will be electric, because it's not just here in California, it's across the world that they are putting in mandates that we have to go to electric vehicles. General Motors, Mercedes, Volvo, Infiniti, you name it. I mean, even Ferrari, Porsche, they're all going electric. This is the growth. By the year 2020, by the year 2030, the global electric fleet, it's growing at a rate of 30% per year. It's huge. So this is the question. And the answer is pretty much no. That's why we're buying it. And that's why I said we have less than a decade to even be able to invest in this area. So beyond what's happening with the energy, land is finite and it becomes more valuable when it's scarce. They're running out of it quickly, especially with the alternative energy push that's happening. Land has always been the best investment on earth. Wars are fought over land. Land is needed for everything from our electricity to our Amazons to our homes. You name it, land is needed. So welcome to the greatest shift of worlds, or greatest shift of wealth happening in the history of the world. And again, this property is in the center of the alternative energy capital of the world. So again, the yellow are the solar projects. And then here are the wind projects. It kind of lines with dots. You can see those out there. Those are all wind turbines that are already on the ground out there. So options for investing in land: cash. If you have an old 401k or IRA, you can roll those over into a self-directed IRA. You can partner with other people. Certificates of deposit, if you have that sitting in the bank, I mean, you're losing money to inflation alone. And land throughout history has always beat inflation. Gold barely keeps up with inflation. Land beats it every day. Cash value life insurance, if you have a line of credit or cash out refinance from your home or business, HELOCs, those types of things, You can keep growing your wealth there. Corporations, if you have an LLC, S Corp, or C Corp, you can buy it with that. Or you can do a 1031 exchange. If you're selling a rental property, you can buy land via a 1031 exchange and use the government's money to invest so you don't pay taxes there. Again, my name is Marcela Silva. Thank you so much for watching this presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, this is a phenomenal location, available only through January 9th, 2022. If you're interested in it, please let me know as soon as possible. I have a feeling this property is going to go fast. Available on a first come, first served basis only. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Happy New Year. Spread the love, spread the joy, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.